Back in 1997, a young woman named Colleen Stan decided to hitchhike from Eugene, Oregon to California. As harmless as this was, it would turn out to be the worst decision she ever made. Colleen's decision will eventually become the story of the girl in a box, a story about how Colleen would spend the next 7 years of her life in captivity. But being in a box wasn't what scared Colleen the most. There was something else that scared her so much that it prevented her from escaping. In 1977, Colleen left her home in Eugene to far-off Northern California. Even though this was the first time Colleen went on such an adventure, she considered herself an expert hitchhiker. In fact, on this fateful day, in a bid to be safe, Colleen ignored 2 different rides. However, when she saw a blue van, she believed the wait was over and she hopped right into the car. She felt safe. There was a man, a woman, and a baby in the car. There was no way this beautiful family could hurt her. But a few minutes after Colleen got into the van, she could sense that something was wrong. And immediately the driver, Cameron Hooker, veered into a dirt road. She knew that her life was in danger. And in this moment, Colleen Stan's life will change forever. A few minutes down the remote road in the middle of nowhere, the woman, Janice Hooker, and her baby got out of the car, leaving Colleen with Cameron. Almost instantly, Cameron put a knife to her neck and ordered her into a head box, a box which covered her head completely and prevented her from seeing the route. Shortly, the car arrived at a house in the wild. Here, Colleen would be tied, electrocuted, burned, whipped, and exposed to the worst kind of physical and mental torture. At first, Cameron didn't sexually assault Colleen. Instead, he made the young woman watch him and his wife Janice have sex. However, it didn't take long before Cameron turned his prisoner into a sex slave. Then the family moved to a mobile home, and this marked the start of Colleen's captivity in a box. To prevent her from escaping, Cameron made her spend 23 hours of the day in a coffin-like wooden box. For 1 hour every day, Colleen will clean and babysit her kidnappers, 2 little girls, who had no idea that their babysitter was a prisoner in their own home. But despite the pain, beatings, and sexual abuses that Colleen suffered, something else scared her more, and this consequently prevented her from trying to escape. Cameron told his prisoner that he was a member of a deadly satanic organization called The Company, an organization that knew everything about her, her family, friends, and past lovers. Even if she escaped from his house, Cameron reassured her that the company will find her back in only a few days. While Colleen was scared for her own life, she was more worried that Cameron and the company would hurt her family. A few years down the line, Colleen slowly began earning freedom from her captor. She was soon allowed to go for jogs, work, and even visit her family. When she was asked about the strange man who followed her around, Colleen lied that Cameron was her boyfriend out of fear of what he could do. In fact, he made her sign a contract that clearly stated that she was his slave. But in 1984, 7 years after Colleen was kidnapped, things started to crumble in the Hookers family. Cameron wanted Colleen to become his second wife, but Janice, who also married Cameron after being his slave for years, didn't want any of that. In revenge, Janice explained to Colleen that there was no company monitoring her life, and her husband had only invented that to keep her from escaping. She then helped Colleen escape Cameron, but only on one condition: she wasn't going to say anything to the police. Later on, Janice would admit that she did this because she believed her husband could be rehabilitated. However, when she discovered that he was going to do it again to somebody else, she had no choice but to report him to the police. Fortunately, Cameron was sentenced to 104 years in prison, while his wife Janice was granted full immunity for testifying against him. Colleen Stan, on the other hand, hasn't still fully healed from the trauma of these years. Today, she lives in California under a different name, still suffering from extreme back and shoulder pains. But Colleen is forever grateful that she was able to escape the dangerous home of Cameron Hooker and has been able to make a difference in her life. After earning a degree in accounting, Colleen has been able to lead a normal life once again. But do you think Cameron had other victims who were too scared to speak up because of fear of the company? Tell us what you think in the comments section. Thanks for watching.